The story begins by introducing a woman who shares a unique and somewhat unsettling connection with grasshoppers. She is a cultivator of these insects, and while she attempts to control their growth, it is evident that she actually holds a fondness for them. However, her business is struggling significantly. The quantity of grasshoppers she possesses is very low, leading customers to refuse to buy from her. In a desperate measure to stimulate their growth, she resorts to feeding them her own blood. She then brings these blood-fed grasshoppers home and begins the process of selling them. Observing her mother's difficulties, the daughter suggests that they should consider leaving the city to avoid such recurring problems in their lives. In contrast, her son becomes quite upset, interpreting his mother's actions as a sacrifice for these creatures. Despite his anger, the mother firmly believes she is entirely dedicated to her work, and she soon notices a positive change. Her income has begun to increase. During this period, an old customer named Kareem contacts her. He informs her about another individual, Laura, who also sells grasshoppers. Kareem reveals that it was Laura who had initially directed him to the mother's product in the past. A pivotal moment occurs when the mother returns home one day to a startling discovery: the number of grasshoppers in her sugar field has doubled. Furthermore, their size has also dramatically increased. She immediately understands this surge is a direct consequence of her unusual method of feeding them her blood. Despite experiencing pain, she continues this peculiar feeding practice. When she later attempts to remove a grasshopper from her hand, she finds they are stubbornly stuck, causing her even more significant pain. As time progresses, both the quantity and size of the grasshoppers continue to grow, compelling her to prepare even larger quantities of blood specifically for their sustenance. From the window of her own field, Laura observes the mother's peculiar activities. This sight angers Laura considerably, as she realizes exactly where the grasshoppers are being bred. Laura, who had previously recommended the mother's grasshoppers to customers, now vehemently denies having ever done so. Given that customers are now buying significantly less from the mother, she tries to re-establish contact with her old clients. Kareem, one of these old clients, inquires about the current quality of her grasshoppers. He specifically requests a sample, promising to resume being a customer if the quality proves to be good. A young boy arrives at her home carrying a container of blood. He innocently asks the mother why she requires such a large amount of blood. The mother responds plainly, stating that it is to feed her grasshoppers. The boy finds this answer amusing and, with a laugh, leaves the blood with her before departing. Suddenly, a severe storm strikes the area, causing widespread destruction. Everything at the mother's house is destroyed, and the grasshoppers manage to escape. Laura's grasshoppers are also wiped out by the storm, forcing them out into the open. Laura and her companions seize this opportunity to attack the mother's grasshoppers first, and then proceed to chase the mother away from her own home. When the mother eventually returns to what's left of her house, her son informs her about the persistent grasshopper problem. She then instructs her son and his brother to remain inside the house for their safety. Additionally, she tells Laura's friend to return to her own home. The mother then goes looking for her daughter, whom she finds in a very bad state, badly injured. She immediately tells her daughter that the grasshoppers are responsible for these injuries. At that very moment, she witnesses the grasshoppers attacking her daughter once again. Confused and angered by this terrifying turn of events, she locks her daughter inside the house. Inside the house, the structure itself is being extensively damaged and destroyed. Her daughter attempts to reason with her, suggesting that they all leave the place for their safety. The daughter also notices unusual purple lines appearing on her mother's skin and inquires about them. However, the mother chooses to ignore her daughter's questions. This is because the mother is secretly continuing to feed the grasshoppers her blood. In an effort to make everyone happy and possibly reassure them, she accepts a very large order for her grasshoppers. People arrive to assist her in producing the blood needed for the grasshoppers. However, due to limited space, the mother is forced to start performing the blood collection process at home. This rigorous activity takes a toll on her, making her ill. Her friend Kareem, seeing her situation, comments on how well her business is flourishing. This remark, however, greatly irritates the mother. She tells him that his words disturb her and asks him not to call her again. Kareem is deeply saddened by her reaction and leaves. The mother becomes increasingly worried about the escalating situation. During this time, she hears a noise emanating from the stable. She investigates and finds her daughter inside, who attempts to prevent her mother from entering. It is revealed that her daughter and son were supposed to go camping. The mother picks up her daughter, but the daughter suddenly falls down, seemingly attacked by the grasshoppers. The mother calms her, but both are troubled by a strong feeling that something is terribly wrong. Later, the mother frantically searches the entire house for her daughter but cannot find her anywhere. She eventually spots her daughter on the roof. Her mother calls out to her, telling her to come down, but the daughter points to distinct purple spots on her own body, exclaiming that the grasshoppers are now on her too. Terrified, the daughter runs back inside the house. The mother sends a message to Kareem. Kareem arrives and takes her home. As he is asking her questions about bringing her home, the daughter suddenly appears. Kareem becomes extremely angry and, despite his daughter crying, he forcibly takes her away from the mother. The father, presumably Kareem, as indicated by previous events, then approaches the mother's home. He sees grasshoppers devouring an old man outside the house. He cautiously enters the house to investigate further and discovers the man's remains inside. As he goes back outside, he realizes that everyone now knows about the grasshoppers. He initially believes people have informed him, but then he hears the grasshoppers and heads directly towards the house. He then proceeds to burn the house down. The grasshoppers, startled and disturbed by the fire, attack the mother. Kareem and the children arrive at the scene and quickly try to put out the fire. Kareem goes inside and switches off the lights. The mother, however, refuses to leave, declaring that she will not abandon her grasshoppers. She manages to escape the immediate flames, but the grasshoppers are still relentlessly pursuing her. In a desperate move, she jumps into the water, grabbing the remaining grasshoppers that were kept there. The swarm continues to follow her, attracted by her presence. In a final, desperate act of sacrifice, she covers herself in her own blood and smears it onto her face. As predicted, the grasshoppers are strongly attracted to her blood and fly upwards, leaving her. With the grasshoppers seemingly gone, Kareem believes the mother is dead. He then anxiously searches for his daughter, finds her, and is overjoyed. He embraces her tightly, and with this reunion, the movie concludes.